Yo, how is it going, Bears fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Done podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Today I'm joined by my co-host, Jaylen, on screen, and Parth is also in the call. How is it going, guys?
It's all right.
So, it's been a while since we posted, mostly just because the off-season's been pretty slow. Not much stuff to report on, but we're having a video, obviously, right now about Antonio Brown out, and then hopefully tomorrow we'll have a video out about the rest of free agency, along with specifically Adrian Amos, because there are reports that he's going to leave Chicago up. But that's going to be talked about a different time. Basically, while we're talking about Antonio Brown today, you can call us all crazy if you want. Since the Bears don't have the cap space for this, you could say the Bears don't want this type of guy in their locker room. But what drew our attention to Antonio Brown today was a report, or not really a report, just a prediction by David Carr and Reggie Wayne on NFL Total Access. Came out saying the top four teams that Antonio Brown could be traded to. Now, they eliminated all the AFC teams because the Steelers came out and said they probably don't want to trade him to an AFC team. And it was Bears, Seahawks, 49ers, and I'm forgetting the other one.
I think it was the Eagles.
Washington.
Redskins? Okay. Yeah. I'm not saying it's incredibly realistic that the Bears can do this. Obviously, they made the huge splash last year trading for Khalil Mack. But I guess with Ryan Pace at this point, you never know. I mean, looking at last year with Khalil Mack, there were small little rumors saying that the Bears were in those talks. No one really thought it was going to happen. And I guess we're in a similar situation now, and that's why this is being brought to our and all of your guys' attention. Quickly, before we get into this, I would like to go over Antonio Brown's stats from 2018. 15 games. Obviously, he should have played the 16th game, but he obviously there's a huge story on how he missed the last game of the season against the Bengals, and that all spiraled out of control. And that's the reason why he's leaving. He doesn't really trust the organization anymore, and he's gone out and spoken publicly about just what he thinks about the organization and everyone in it. Big Ben, Mike Tomlin, Art Rooney, the owner, and all that. But 15 games, 104 receptions, almost 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns for him. A very productive season for Brown. He's one of the best receivers in the league. He's played 130 career games and has 11,000 receiving yards. So he's been very productive throughout his career. Jaylen, I'm going to start with you. I'm not gonna say do you want this to happen. That'll be the next question. But do you see this? Do you think this is realistic? The Bears trading for Antonio Brown.
Is this realistically, or is this a realistically thing to happen? No, we don't have the cap. We don't have draft picks. Well, now that his value is lowered, maybe we can draft for him, but we still don't have the cap. We have to get rid of like a bunch of people to even take on his contract. So realistically, we can't do this. But I would love for AB to be in this. Well, to be on this team, not in this locker room. He's a diva, but I have no what's the word? I have no like bad feelings about
totally
emotional type of receivers like OBJ or him. So I would love him to be on this team. I think like he's our missing piece on offense, but realistically, I don't think we can trade for him.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel the same way. As far as contract money goes, we're talking about Adrian Amos, we're talking about Bryce Callahan. That doesn't even seem like a realistic situation that we could sign both of them back at this point, much less take on a player like AB, who's going on 31 years old, which could be bad on its own, and is owed $15+ million in 2018. I don't think it's realistic just because of the contract and us not having cap space due to signing Mac. But I guess you never know. We could probably find a way to move around some money. Assuming that AB would come to town, I bet you could see guys like Josh Bellamy leaving, possibly even Taylor Gabriel leaving, because we've got guys who can step up, as in like Javon Wims, Anthony Miller, young guys who are going to have to step up and take bigger roles. But we definitely have to move around money and probably would have to get rid of some decent defenders too for this to be a possibility. Parth, do you see this being a possibility?
Cap space wise, we could actually make it work. I was just looking at overthecap.com, and the Bears currently have $8 million in cap space approximately. And
without re-signing any of Amos or Callahan.
Yeah, exactly. $8 million right now. And if we cut, what's his name, Sam Acho, or Acho?
Acho, yeah.
How do you pronounce it? Acho, yeah. Him and Deion Sims, we can save up to $17 million in cap space, which is a pretty damn good amount of money. to bring in AB. But then that would lead us to not maybe getting Callahan or Adrian Amos, which in my opinion would be kind of bad for the defense because we need one of them back, in my opinion. So it's either Nagy takes his offensive man, gets us over the top in the offense.
With a little bit of drop-off on defense, yeah.
Yeah, 2 keystone players on defense, pretty much.
Totally. So now I'm going to go around and ask if we actually want this to happen. I mean, obviously, I feel like people are either incredibly yes or incredibly no on this. Let's go the reverse way this time. Parth, if this were to be a possibility, say we do end up getting the cap space, and we would have to do a lot more than just cut Sims and those guys, because we would want to bring back what seems to most likely be Callahan at this point, and he would take on $6 to $7 million per year, I think, if not 7, 8, 9, 10 million per year. God knows what his contract's going to be like. I'm assuming 6 to 7 million per year for him. This is assuming that Amos leaves, but if there's a possibility of this happening, would you like this to happen?
Yeah, I mean, he could be a bad presence in the locker room and blah blah blah. But I feel like there is no other locker room like us. We're all a family here. We back each other up. Even after Cody Parkey missed that field goal, everyone backed him up. There was no hatred between the locker room. I feel like him coming to Chicago would bring love with him. Show him how you can become a leader with Matt Nagy and all that stuff. Yeah, and Matt Nagy's a pretty dope coach also, and he's just one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. I mean, who doesn't want a player like him on your team scoring 15 touchdowns? That's amazing.
Totally. Yeah, I not only think he would up the play of himself, he would up the play of Allen Robinson. He could help Javon Wims. Similar to how Jaylen talks high of Kevin Tolliver, I just love Javon Wims, looking at his college tape and even looking at his preseason tape from last year and when he actually got snaps during the season. I think Javon Wims has a bright future coming. I think he's got the framing of someone who's going to be a very good wide receiver. He's got the catch radius that you want. He can jump. He can do anything. He's fast. I think Antonio Brown could bring some good knowledge to guys like Javon Wims, like Anthony Miller, and even Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's pretty young. You saw how, and I'm not saying he's completely Antonio Brown, but obviously he had to have passed on some knowledge to Juju Smith-Schuster, who now is a Pro Bowler and is going to take up the number 1 slot for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if we brought in AB, maybe it would be a 1 or 2 year thing just to hopefully try and get him a ring, but he would be able to pass on some knowledge, and maybe we could cut out a deal to keep him here. But do I want this to happen? Yeah, I think there would have to be some talk between him and Ryan Pace about calming down on the Twitter stuff. I'm not personally a big fan of that. I mean, obviously, just as an NFL fan, it's interesting to see what he has to say about his teammates and stuff. But if he came to Chicago, I wouldn't want him saying, "Oh, Trubisky's a bitch" and stuff like this. But he would help everyone around him in the wide receiving core in Chicago, and I'm sure he'd help Trubisky as well. Yeah, I'm sure he would help.
He said Trubisky.
Yeah.
Bro, oh my God, bro, my fault. But that stuff was funny because talking about Trubisky's a bitch.
All right. What? Yeah. Well, he has called out Big Ben publicly, and it's gotten pretty ugly.
I mean, Big Ben's messed up in the head, though. Yeah. I'm not gonna say what he's done in the past, but.
All right. Jaylen, would you want this to happen, if it's possible?
What I want it to happen, if it's possible, would that mean would that mean the possibility of bringing Amos and Bryce Kelly or Bryce back and still getting AB? Is that what you mean by possible?
Sure, yeah. Whatever way you'd like to take it, would you just like this to happen in general?
Okay, then yes. If that means we can bring back either Bryce or
I think everyone's. I think it's settling in now to everyone that we're only going to get one of those back, and it's most likely Callahan just because he's going to be cheaper to get back. I'm not saying I'm not writing Amos off, but Deion Bush is young. I think he's 26 years old. He hasn't gotten a chance yet. I mean, I wasn't too big of a fan of him last year, but. Obviously, we'll be able to hopefully draft or sign someone for... If we got Antonio Brown, we'd have to sign a really cheap replacement, but maybe someone like a Mike Mitchell could come in, a veteran, and help out Deion Bush. But, anyways, reality's kind of setting that Amos is gone. I hate to say it, but...
this... you want me to finish? Okay, so like I was saying, if a possibility of his bringing more than likely Bryce and us still having a possibility of getting AB, then yes, I would take it 100%. But at the same time, I still want to see players like Javon Williams and Anthony Miller, even though Anthony Miller is still going to get snaps regardless. He led the team in touchdowns as a rookie. So I I definitely want to see what Javon has to prove. He was a 7th-round pick who came in the preseason in training camp and showed that he could be a very reliable receiver in this league. I remember when I went to training camp, he had made this great catch over Kyle Fuller in the leg. I was so shocked because this is a 7th-round pick making that type of catch on a now all-pro.
I think that was a steal. Yeah.
Javon Williams definitely has potential to be, like I said, a reliable receiver, and I don't want to see snaps taken away from him because we all know he was inactive most of the season. So, but I would love to have AB in this on this team. He had 15 touchdowns, and which is his best of his whole career. He's only getting older, so. I would love to have AB and Mitchell. Hopefully he doesn't call Mitchell bitch, though. So.
Yeah. Well, that's our episode on Antonio Brown. I'm sure the comments are going to be crazy on this one, saying, like, what the heck are you guys talking about? This isn't going to happen. We don't have the cap space, blah, blah, blah. But Parth proved it. You can look it up online, I assume. I'll have Parth send me a link to the website he was looking at. But there's a possibility where we might be able to clear enough cap space up to make this happen. But you probably wouldn't see some of your well-known Bears players on the field next year if it were to happen. So, obviously, it would be taking on Antonio Brown. But we'll see what happens moving forward in the offseason. It's really boring because we can't really do draft coverage this offseason because we don't have picks. And if we trade a 3rd-rounder for Antonio Brown, we're going to even have less draft coverage to do. We're going to be talking about kickers all offseason. But, yeah, that'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. If you want to follow all of our social medias, they're down in the description. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram and Twitter at BearDown. We do a ton of giveaways and stuff, so be sure to check us out there. And that'll pretty much do it for this one, guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Hopefully we're going to start getting on a more consistent basis now, but things are starting to speed up. So as we approach that first day of free agency, March 13th, which is a little bit less than a month away now, we'll get more and more coming for you guys. So that'll pretty much do it for us. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace. Right on Chicago.